Everybody, welcome back to Tech and Prep, a longer audio only on this water system breach thing. I am currently traveling, don't have my camera, so I have a decent microphone. I thought I'd do this. So what's really going on? So the U.S. water system is under and has been under cyber attack for quite a while. It's pretty well known that state actors, China, Iran, Russia, whoever, are deep within our infrastructure. They have equipment from Huawei that is in our cell systems. They have equipment and hardware that is in our military equipment and our home equipment. If you have like a TP-Link device at home or certain devices at home, they technically have a backdoor into your environment. They're there. They've been there for a while. This is the long con that they've been doing. They being all the different state actors. I even worked in the credit card industry for IT, and we had HCMs. They were HDMs, high security HSM, sorry, HSM, high security module. And the high security modules, what they did is they did the encryption for the processing of all the information. And where were these devices made? Israel. And they were, this was 12 years ago, they were $50 to $80,000 a piece. And they had all this anti-tampering stuff in there. It was quite interesting, but they were made in Israel. If you need to get them worked on or fixed, you send them back to Israel. And so do you think the Israelis did not have some sort of a backdoor into that thing? They most certainly did. So what this is dealing with is primarily what's called SCADA systems. What is SCADA? SCADA is, the term is supervisory control and data acquisition. These are essentially like little devices, and I'll show a picture here on the screen, that look something like this. A newer version is something like this. And these are used throughout all the industries. These are used throughout food, water, oil and gas, transportation. They're everywhere. And essentially what these are is little systems that talk back to whatever the environment is that gives you data on everything. So imagine one of these devices is out on your oil well, the little rocking horse thing, or on your wind turbine, which they are. Every single one of them has one of these. And it's giving you information. That's how it works. There's a little cell phone in there. Oh, you can see in the little picture here. Let's see, zoom in on there. Sorry, production quality. The thing with the antennas, that's a little cell phone. And if it's not cell phone, it's some sort of shortwave or point to point or whatever the communication method is. It is used to talk back, so you can tell that, oh, this thing has high pressure or low pressure, or this is not within norms, or it's offline, or it's going too fast, or going too slow, or shut it down, or whatever the case may be. This is how you control things remotely. This is how one person sits in a office and can control hundreds, if not thousands, of devices in whatever industry you're in. Again, oil, gas, food, water, traffic, you name it. It has some sort of a SCADA system. And what they're finding out is they have these older systems. And these older systems, this may be one of them, I don't know. These older systems have what's called firmware. Firmware is the actual software that's on these boards. And the firmware can be decades old. SCADA is old. I worked with it 20 plus years ago, and it was old technology. And essentially that firmware controls everything. So it controls the ability to log into it. It controls what you have access to. It controls all the different little sensors and all the different things that are plugged into it. And it just normally runs because it's very simple. And unless there's some sort of an actual physical defect or power surge or static or lightning or something or weather, they just work, right? They just work for decades and decades and decades. And what they found is a lot of these things are one way or another internet facing, meaning you can get to them from the internet. Each one of these has an IP address. Each one of these has a MAC address. Or if you're on the phone thing, I forget what the actual ID of the phone is. It's not SSID, it's whatever it is. And they can be communicated with. Now, there's ways around that. There's ways to segment that off and blah, blah, blah. But the point is, this old hardware doesn't have the security, or it has default password set up, right? You set up your home router, you set up an IoT device for your, I don't know, your thermostat or whatever, or your webcam, and it comes with a default login and password. And quite often, apparently, people never change that shit. And so people are able to log into one. Now, once you get into one, you can get into them all. What they can do is they can log into one of these things and go, oh, this is a, let's see, whatever, an Allen Bradley 1763 L16BBB, and they basically can flash the firmware and they can add their own code into it. And now that device does whatever they want it to do. It still does what you want it to do. They could flash it. It looks like a reboot or a hiccup, comes back up line, and all your stuff is working. You're like, oh, okay, that's fine. But in the background, there's now code, and that code can connect to the other ones and do the exact same thing to the other ones. And it can basically work its way through the systems and compromise everything. So let's say you have a field of, I don't know, 100 wind turbines, and every single one of them has been compromised. And that firmware now, at the command from whoever, from wherever, can basically take these wind turbines, turn them on full speed, and turn off any kind of alarms or safety measures. And these things spin up until they burn up. And when they burn up, guess what? They have a shitload of oil in them for lubrication. That oil catches on fire. Now you have 100 or hundreds or thousands of wind turbines that are now on fire. What kind of havoc will that wreak? So that's what they can do with this. And with water systems, there's a good, and again, poor quality, I apologize. It's hard to get this kind of stuff in any meaningful way. But you can see here, I mean, this is just a very high level, I would call this like a low level design of a water system. So imagine with a water system, if they were to take the turbines and turn them off or on, or turn them off, but the sensor still says it's on, or fill up the tanks, but they're not full, they're too full, or get into the systems that automatically do the chemicals for water treatment, and there's too much of this or not enough of that, or these certain chemicals are mixed, and those are too dangerous to be mixed together, and now the water is some sort of chemical agent, or all the other things. Just imagine what they could do with that. And imagine them doing that in the power grid, in the water system, in the energy sector, in the food sector. Imagine they connect, because each one of those trucks that's going down the road has a system like this. A refrigerated truck that has your food in it has a system like this on there. Imagine if that system is compromised such that the refrigeration turns off, but the sensor says it's on. And imagine if all the warehouses that hold food for Walmart or Costco or Trader Joe's or whoever, if all of their trucks, how many trucks do they have in the United States running? Thousands, tens of thousands. Imagine if all of those systems turned off, but yet the sensors stayed on, and all that food spoiled all at once. That is an unrecoverable situation. And imagine, put tinfoil hat on for a second. Imagine at the exact same time, all wind turbines in the United States catch fire. All oil wells explode. All refrigeration trucks turn off, and they could fry the equipment too. And it's fried, and it's irreplaceable. It would take forever to replace it. Power transformers turn off or overload and explode. You have the airline industry has these types of systems at airports. Imagine airline traffic is halted. Imagine all the trains, all the sensors on the train tracks. Now you don't know where the trains are, and they turn the sensors off, and it doesn't know there's a train coming, and now you have train collisions. I mean, this is a bad movie that could 100% happen. And imagine all those things happening at once across the United States. Imagine all the small power grids going down. Imagine all the wastewater treatment and water processing plants going down. Imagine all of the water towers. They stop sending water out. And imagine that all happens at the exact same time. That is an unrecoverable situation for the United States, or for any country for that matter. But if that happened here, we would be knocked into the Stone Age, because there'd be no communications, There's no way to fix this stuff quickly. You would literally have to find these devices, bring them back online, and get stuff going. And you'd have to duplicate that hundreds, if not thousands or tens of thousands of times. There is no way to plan for this. This is a poor design from the get-go for people that did not think ahead and did not take the time and effort to realize that this was going to be a problem. And if they did a very poor job of planning for it. So that is what's going on with this. So you may think, oh, haha, it's funny, the town in Minnesota doesn't have water for a while, or oh, haha, the one in Illinois has to do a boil order. God, that's not me. It's going to be you. It's going to be me. It's going to be us. This is a prime example of why you need to set back some food. Do you have a couple weeks worth of food? Do you have a couple weeks, if not a couple months worth of water? Do you live in an apartment? Is that your excuse? Go get a bunch of gallons of water. Put them in a closet. Go get those 5-gallon jugs that you'd see in an office on the little Culligan thingy, little water stand. Go get 4 or 5 of those. Go get some food that you need very minimal. Yeah, you're going to eat oatmeal, or you're going to eat cereal, or you're going to eat beans and rice for a couple weeks or a couple months. Guess what? You're not going to be fucking dead. You understand? Now, what's the chance of this happening all at once? Low, but it's not zero anymore. I would say it's something like this is going to happen in my lifetime. And imagine all of the communications for all of the first responders goes away. They don't know. Yeah, your house is on fire. Who are you going to tell? What are you going to do about it? Nothing. It's going to burn. It's going to jump to the next house and it's going to burn. Forest fires. Can't communicate. Oil stops flowing. Gas stops flowing. Natural gas stops flowing. Electricity stops flowing. All these things happen. This is why you need to look at the different steps of preparedness, because this type of stuff can and is going to happen. And if it all happens at once, God help us, because we are truly, honestly fucked. So figure out a plan. Set back some water. Set back some food that you don't necessarily need heat or boiled water to do. Cans of food. You can heat up a can with a candle. Not that you'd want to because of the BPA in it and all that, but still. Better than dying. Look at freeze-dried food if you can afford it. Mix freeze-dried food with your canned food with some staples like rice or beans. Go get a can of chili. A can of chili is 700 or 900 calories. Have some noodles or some rice or both. And you heat those up and you cook those up in some boiling water, because you have some fuel for a campfire, or you have wood, or you have propane, or you have however you can do it. And now you take that freeze-dried meal, which is only 300, 400, 500 calories. You mix it with a can of beans or a can of chili, which is 700, 800, 900 calories, along with some rice and some pasta and some veggies from a can and some powdered cheese or something like that. And now you have a 2,000 calorie meal that you can split amongst a couple people, and you're not going to starve to death. It's not going to be good. It's not going to be fun. It's not going to be nice, but you're not going to starve to death. You're not going to be in the bread line because you have to be. So this is both a technology and a preparedness warning. This can happen. This is going to happen at some point to some degree, and we need to be prepared for it. Anyhow, this is one of the longer videos. They don't usually get much traction. Hopefully it does. Like and subscribe. I could definitely have a lot more to say on this topic. I have pretty deep knowledge of SCADA, all those systems. I'm not going to go into the 0 and 1s on this. I can if someone wants me to. But also on the preparedness side, get a little solar bank. I did a little review on a solar bank I need to do the results on. Spend a couple $100. Get a small Bluetti or a Jackery. Get a small 100-watt solar panel, which I've done videos on, that you can charge your phone or a tablet or a small laptop. You can charge batteries for a battery. Get a crank battery. Get a here. I'll just show you anyhow. 100-watt solar Jackery. Jackery is a good brand. $100. Yeah, right there. Off good old Amazon, right? Because Bezos needs another fucking yacht. So something like that. And if you get something with an actual, let's see, I know production quality, right? You don't need to go the $900 route or something small. These are all in different watts. So watts, as far as output goes and stuff like that, I've done videos on it as far as like what you actually need to run on it. If you're just trying to run something really small, you can go pretty cheap. So if we go with $9.99 or under. Okay, so your example, $226. This will get you a 300 watt solar bank, which is this. That's 300 watts right there. Sorry, that's the 60 watt panel. That's the 300 watt solar bank. And you can get them for less than that. Here's a 189. Okay, here's 189. And it is a 60 watt solar panel and a 300 watt portable power station. That right there for 189, and you can get it cheaper as well, will more than easily charge your cell phones, a tablet, probably a small laptop, recharge batteries for something like a I know this is going on a tangent, but you know, here we are. An emergency radio, something like this. These are hand cranks as well. They have a little solar thing on there. It's more gimmicky, but you know, it is what it is. They also act as little battery backups. But something like this, something that'll do the weather stations, do AM, FM, it'll do the emergency broadcast, stuff like that. These are key to have, and they're cheap. You can even get them less than $35. You can find them, and the hand crank will break, so don't plan on that being there forever. So you get that, you get the solar thing, you're well less than $500, and get a water filter. So something like a Sawyer. Like a Sawyer. So something like this, you can use that for, I think it's like 100,000 gallons or something like that. So they're not just for hiking. Don't rely on the life straws. You don't want to be sticking your face in fucking puddles. I mean, let's be serious here. And no, you're not going to go to the Mississippi River and use a Sawyer or a water filter like that. You can do it on like a river or maybe some sort of municipal water stuff that comes out if you need to filter it at home. But you're not going to stick one of these things into like the Mississippi River because there's chemicals and there's things in there that you just simply can't filter out. But for less than $500, I'll do a quick video on it. Less than $500, you can get a solar unit, you can get a water filter, and you can get an emergency radio. That right there will set you ahead of most everybody else. Because you have communications, you can listen for emergency alerts, you can listen to the news, you can charge stuff, you can charge LED lights, you can charge flashlights, headlights. I would definitely get a headlight too. Something like these. I like these ones right here. This band is an LED, then also there's like more focused. These will last for many, many hours. Then that way you have your hands free. Oh, less than $500. I'll put together a short 2-minute video on that here real quick. But anyhow, yeah, this is going long, almost 20 minutes. Thanks for watching. Like, subscribe. We'll talk to you in the next one.